guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a story time video. It's sort of like a story time, sort of like a don't do this if you're in a similar position, warning, red flag type video. There's so much about being a YouTuber or even just having a small channel on YouTube that I feel like doesn't get talked about, and sometimes it's hard to get that kind of information. Again, especially if you're a smaller creator. I feel like a lot of times bigger creators almost hold some of the info, some of the knowledge they've gained over the years. It's almost like they hold that hostage for some reason. And it's like this big mystery, and I don't really understand why. I really feel like it shouldn't be like that. So I figured by making some story times or some just advice videos on this type of a topic could be helpful for, of course, those of you who do have a YouTube channel, but even just kind of shedding some light on some of the sometimes sketchy things that go on the back end. Again, I feel like these are things that don't get talked about very often, but this video was very, very heavily inspired by one YouTuber in particular that I have been watching so much of her content. If you guys haven't heard of her, her channel name is Smokey Glow. Her name is Hannah, and she is such a great content creator. She does do a lot of beauty content, but she also talks about some of the drama that goes on behind the scenes in the beauty community. She also talks about kind of the deep dark side of being a YouTuber. I know a lot of you guys already know about her. Her channel is really blowing up right now, but if you haven't checked her out, I'll link her channel below. She was recently talking about this topic in a video, and that's what inspired me to talk about it, because I have first-hand experience with what it's like to basically be scammed by an MCN. Diving into the history of my YouTube channel really quickly, just for those of you guys who aren't aware, I've been doing YouTube since 2010. Back then, it was definitely very much a hobby. I had just started college, and I was just doing it in my free time. I loved beauty products, so I figured I would put my 2 cents up on the internet, and I slowly started gaining a following through that. By 2011, I was a partner on YouTube, which at the time, it was a little bit more tricky to become YouTube partner. You had to apply and you had to give like this whole written description on why you want to be partner, and they would analyze your statistics and your subscriber count and your analytics and all this kind of stuff. It was sort of like getting into college, kind of. Like you had to submit an application, make it really in-depth, and then YouTube would go through and decide if they wanted to accept you as partner or reject you. And back then, that was the only way that you could even get monetized on the platform. You had to be a YouTube partner. So by 2011, I actually did become a YouTube partner. Looking back on it, what I know now is that once you become a YouTube partner and you start making some money, unless you had a lot of views on your videos, you probably weren't making that much money. And when I say not that much, I think the first month that I was partner, I made like $18. So when I say not that much money, I mean literally not that much money. Another little tidbit of the back end of YouTube, if you guys don't know how YouTubers typically get paid on the platform, the only money YouTubers make from YouTube is via advertisements. So YouTube doesn't pay out for anything else really. If we can monetize the video, ads go up on our video and we get paid for that. The algorithm for how people get paid is very unknown. Even to this day, I don't even think a lot of creators understand how it works because it's not consistent. YouTube uses this term called CPM, which I had to look up exactly what that meant. It means cost per mil. Your CPM is a number, and that is the amount you will get paid per 1,000 views. And the confusing thing is CPMs range vastly, not just channel to channel or creator to creator, but within your channel, it will vary depending on the time of the year. More often than not, months like October, November, and December have a pretty high CPM depending on the video. And this one, I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's the actual video content or whatever, but each individual video will kind of have a different CPM. Needless to say, YouTube paychecks, if you're a YouTube creator, are super, super variable. Just because you upload twice a week, every week, and are really consistent with your content and are even getting a very similar amount of views video to video, your paycheck month to month can be very, very different. Now, the reason I dove into that whole spiel, that comes into play in my story. Because CPMs are so variable when you go directly through YouTube, that's how I got rooked into signing with an MCN. If you guys don't know what an MCN is, it is a multi-channel network. Is that what it is? Multi-channel network? Let me confirm that. Yeah, multi-channel network, and this is the official description of them. They are third-party service providers that affiliate with multiple YouTube channels to offer services that may include audience development, content programming, creator collaborations, digital rights management, monetization, and or sales. Okay. So let's chat about MCNs, shall we? If you get nothing else out of this video, just take this tidbit, please. If you are a small channel, and when I say small, I mean under 100,000 subscribers, but honestly, probably even under 250,000 subscribers, don't sign with an MCN. I'm just gonna flat out say it, don't sign. Now, granted, I'm sure there are success stories out there. I have no doubt that some of you guys maybe are already signed to MCNs and are having a great experience. And if that's the case, lucky you. That wasn't my personal experience, which I'm about to share. That's also not the experience of a lot of other creators that I have heard that are around my same channel size. So here's my personal story. Back in 2012, I was approached by an MCN. I'm not gonna name the MCN for legal reasons, but I will say that it was a really popular MCN that was dealing with a lot of beauty creators. When they originally emailed me, they basically, you know, flaunted like, hey Eshani, we love your channel, we love the content you create, we're an MCN that deals with beauty creators, so we know your space really well. We also work with X, Y, and Z creators, and X, Y, and Z were really, really popular beauty influencers at the time. So a little bit of name dropping going on there, but of course, you know, you gotta flaunt your attributes, I guess. The email goes on to say, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to see how we could help your channel. Let us know if you're interested. Go ahead and shoot us an email and we can set up an official call. It came across very legit. At that time, I think I had about 4,000 subscribers, so I was tiny. And some of the channels that they had shouted out in that email had millions of subscribers. I mean, these were some of the top beauty creators. When you are a newer YouTuber, I'd only been on the platform for about 2 years. I didn't have a huge following. And looking back, I don't fault myself. I mean, you get an email from someone who works with some of the best of the best. And of course, I mean, you get excited. I think that's just human nature. Like I said, I don't fault past Eshani for doing what she did. So anyways, I got that email and I emailed them back and we set up a phone call. Of course, on the phone call, again, there was a lot of name dropping, a lot of promises that they were making, things that sounded so fantastic. One of the questions she asked me was, what's something that you feel like you can improve on your channel? And one of my biggest things at the time was that I was filming like in between classes and stuff, and I didn't have lights. Like I didn't have a studio lighting set up, so I was just using natural sunlight. I was just sitting in front of a window and hoping and praying it was sunny that day and I was able to do it when the sun was up. So I told her that I felt like I would be able to create more consistent content if I had a studio light setup. And she was like, oh my goodness, of course, I know some of the best studio lights. We can go ahead and get those sent over to you as soon as possible. And I was like, whoa, okay, so you're gonna help me out with my lighting. That's pretty cool. Other things that MCNs promise, as I read in that official description, is that they claim they will help you get more partnerships, more sponsorships, more collaborations with other YouTubers. And of course that sounded really appealing because especially at the time, collaborations were a big thing. Cross-promoting your channel with other channels that have similar content was a great way to just get more foot traffic on your channel, get your channel out to more eyes. And the cherry on top top of all of that was she said, let me have access to your YouTube analytics and I will go ahead and create a flat rate CPM for you that is higher than you get on average. So I gave her access to my analytics, and I honestly don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. I'm just gonna throw in some approximate-ish numbers just so you guys get an idea. But she had told me, I think that my average CPM was about 2.8, which means that for every 1,000 views I was getting $2.80. But also remember what I told you about CPMs fluctuate a lot throughout the year. So an average CPM of my entire channel, that's honestly not very accurate. And then she told me that they could promise me a CPM of 4.5 consistently for the entire length of the contract, which we're about to get into that because there's also a contract you have to sign with MCNs. But going from an average 2.8 CPM, which I don't remember if this was the actual number, I'm kind of approximating here, but going from something like 2.8 to something like 4.5, I mean, that's a decent increase for sure. All I had to do was sign a 4-year contract. Let me restate that. I had to sign a 4-year contract. Now, Eshani, being a new YouTuber, only on the platform for 2 years, to me, I thought that was fine. It's not fine. Nobody signs a 4-year contract for hardly anything. You sign a year-by-year lease at the place you are living. Apartments, houses, etc. They have single-year leases. Nobody leases an apartment for 4 years straight. Like, that just doesn't happen. So for me to basically sell over my channel in the growth stages of my channel, I shouldn't have done it. I should not have done it. But yeah, the truth of the matter is I signed it. At the time, and even honestly still to this day, YouTube isn't a platform that offers a lot of support for creators, which is understandable because there are a lot of creators on YouTube. So YouTube as a whole, like if something goes wrong with your channel, like for whatever reason you can't monetize a video or you get strikes or something, it's not like YouTube just has like a customer service button where you can like live chat with a YouTube person. It's not like that. So that was another reason I thought it would be nice, because this was sort of a middleman between YouTube and me that was just big enough, knew just enough about the platform, but was easier to access. If I ever had any issues with my channel, I would be able to reach out to, you know, this MCN. So I signed the 4-year contract. I signed over my channel. And another thing with signing with an MCN is that you sign over all of your analytics and you don't have access to them anymore. Now, I want to be clear, I signed with my MCN back in 2012. So at this point, we're 8 years removed. Maybe it's different now. I'm not sure. I haven't done enough research into it. But at least when I signed, I basically signed over my channel. I signed over my analytics. So I never got to see, like week to week, month to month, all of that. I never got to see how many collective views I was actually getting. I couldn't see how much YouTube revenue I was actually making. I couldn't see any of that. Basically, every month, I was just getting a random check. I had no clue about viewer engagement. I didn't know my audience type. I literally knew nothing. If you are a YouTuber and your goal is to grow your channel, pay attention to your analytics. YouTube has a pretty good analytics breakdown if you're a creator. You're able to see the demographics of the people that watch you, the watch time on every single video, like how long people are watching the video. Of course, your likes to dislikes ratio, your total views per like hour. You're able to see a lot of details that can come into handy when you make future videos, but when you don't have access to those analytics because you signed them away, I mean, it was my fault, that is hard. It's hard to grow your channel when you don't know what people are watching, who your audience is, how long they stick around on your channel. It's hard. It makes it very, very hard. Now, I will say for that first year, approximate year that I had signed, I actually didn't mind it because I did notice they were reaching out every now and then, asking how my channel was doing, if there was anything they could help with growing it, if I had any problems, if the studio lights were working out well, whatever. After about a year of signing with that MCN, they were really hard to get a hold of. They weren't checking in on my channel. It was like every reason I had signed with them was just going down the gutter before my eyes. This is about 3 years into my channel, and my viewership was rapidly going up. I was getting a lot more subscribers. I was getting a lot more views per video. I was being even more consistent with my uploads because at that point I had the studio lights. So I wasn't basically like a slave to the sun and could only film if and when it was convenient. So because of that, I was also making more consistent uploads. So inevitably, in my mind, you think, well, I'm getting more views. I'm uploading more often. Of course, I mean, my paychecks have to go up. But for some strange reason, they were going down. And I was trying to reach out and ask why that was because I didn't have access to my analytics. Even when I would reach out and ask about it, there was always some like weird explanation, them just trying to kind of twist my words and make it seem like I was demanding more than I was actually owed or whatever. It was giving me a bad taste in my mouth. It just started getting sketchy. And then the absolute cherry on top was about 3 years after I had signed. So remember, it's a 4-year contract. I had 1 year left to stick it out. The company contacted everybody, supposedly everybody that was signed to them. And they said something about YouTube was changing their payment structure. So because of that, they were obligated to change the way that they pay us. So instead of continuing that set CPM that we had signed when we signed the contracts, instead they were going to do like a percentage cut. Now again, I don't remember the exact percentages, so I'm just gonna give you kind of rough examples here. But basically they were saying, we're gonna give you what YouTube would have paid you, but because you're under our umbrella and you've signed this contract, we're gonna give you 70% and we're gonna take our 30% cut. So now they are saying that for literally doing nothing for me, they are going to pay me what YouTube would already pay me, but they're gonna take 30% of that just because. And mind you, this entire time I have been signed with them for 3 whole years. I was promised collaborations. I was promised partnerships. I was promised sponsorships. And in 3 entire years, how many brand partnerships did I get? How many collaborations did I get? How many sponsorship offers did I get? Yeah, I had gotten nothing. In 3 years, I had gotten a set of studio lights, which mind you, weren't the greatest. By that point, I had already upgraded my setup. I had already paid for more professional lighting and a ring light and all of that. So yeah, I had invested 3 years of my YouTube life to this MCN, and I had gotten pretty much nothing. My paychecks were very, very minimal. I couldn't see my analytics, so I couldn't see why I was getting paid what I was. And now they were going to switch it over to just taking 30% of my paycheck just because. I wasn't having it. So I went back to the contract I had signed 3 years prior. I looked through it and I did find a clause, because this contract was huge. But I did find a clause where I had signed exactly the CPM number that they were going to give me. There was a clause that had said, I will be paid this CPM for the 4 years. And now 3 years into the contract, they're just changing it without an explanation. So I emailed them and I told them, I'm not not cool with that. I'm not cool with you guys basically just taking my money for giving me nothing in return. And of course, over email, they were like, oh, let's talk about it. You're still signed for another year, blah, blah, blah. We can maybe work on it. We can maybe adjust the numbers. And I flat out emailed them and I told them, nope, I had a lawyer look into the contract, which I did. And the lawyer did say that because they're changing their payment terms, they are violating the contract. Therefore, it is negated, or like, you know, it doesn't count anymore. If they change the payment terms, the contract is violated. I don't know the official lawyery terms. Of course, these people are like the freaking cable providers. You know how cable providers won't let you freaking cancel your cable because you don't watch cable anymore? All you watch is Netflix, all you watch is Hulu, all you watch is Disney Plus. You don't need cable. Yet these cable providers still want to charge you like $100 a month for their freaking cable channels. Anyways, back to the MCN. I hopped on a phone call with them. I was basically very straight and to the point. And let me tell you guys, this was the absolute cherry on top. I don't know if MCNs think of their creators as stupid, but I was treated like I was absolutely stupid. I'll summarize the conversation that we had on the phone, which was literally, it had my blood boiling. I jump on the phone, I tell them they violated their contract, and because they're changing their payment method, I just want to cancel the contract. I just want it to be done. I don't want to sign with them anymore. She then proceeded to tell me that if the 70-30 cut that they had offered, if that wasn't flying, maybe they could do something more like I get 80%, they get 20%. I told her, no, I don't want that. Then she told me that if I canceled the contract with them, I was basically going to be at the mercy of YouTube, and that YouTube takes a cut of the payments as well, because obviously YouTube is the platform. And what she told me, I don't know how accurate this part is, but what she told me was when ads go up on my videos, YouTube is basically taking a 40% cut and they give the creators a 60% cut. So she was explaining to me that I'm only really getting 60% of what the advertisers are giving. And then she went on to say, but see, I'm offering you 80%. We're only gonna take 20%. And I thought about that for a second, and then I told her, yeah, but you said that you are going to take a 20% cut of the 60% that YouTube is already paying me. And she proceeds to tell me, yes, but you're getting 80% from us. So at this point, I'm doing numbers in my head again, and I'm not a moron. I took a lot of math classes in college. So to make sure that I was hearing her correctly, I flat out spelled it out for her. I told her, if I'm no longer contracted to you, I will get 60% of my full earnings straight from YouTube. But if I stay in a contract with you, I'm getting 80% of the 60% that YouTube is already paying. And she goes, yes. And I told her, that doesn't make sense. That's not a good deal. And this is the line that she told me that I was like, that is it, get me out. She told me, yeah, but 80% is bigger than 60%. And that's when I knew I was dealing with morons. I'm sorry, but you cannot manipulate someone like that. You cannot manipulate someone by saying, but 80% is bigger than 60%. Yes, but 80% of the 60% that you were already getting is smaller. I was done with that. At that point, I was done. I had no more fight in me. At that point, I realized I couldn't get her with logic because she was speaking so illogically. So I just told her, cancel my contract. I'm done. That's it. Once again, she proceeded to say, so you only want the 60% that YouTube is going to give you? And I said, yes, I want the 60%. I want the whole damn 60%. And yeah, so 3 years into my 4-year contract, that got completely negated because they violated terms. So we broke the contract. And I've never talked to them again. I've never referred to them again. And what makes me even more sad is that I am sure that she has tricked other creators into continuing their contract or maybe even re-signing a new contract because of that. Because she flat out told them, but 80% is bigger than 60%. That's when I knew I was dealing with scammers. That's when I knew that I wasn't the only person she had probably said that to, because she said it with such confidence. And again, I don't know if maybe she just didn't understand numbers and she genuinely believed what she was saying, or she thought she could just rook me into it because she's rooked other creators into signing under that pretense. But yeah, I just couldn't deal with it. So at that point, I knew I was being scammed. I canceled the contract. I've never looked back. My earnings shot up through the roof. I mean, this company was 100% stealing my ad revenue. And unfortunately, I can't prove it because I don't have the analytics to prove that. Even when I look back at my channel, like the lifetime analytics of my entire channel for the 10 years that I've had it, those 3 years that I was signed to this MCN, those 3 years are they're just gone. They're not there. I can't see my subscriber numbers go up. I can't see the revenue I had. I can't see my views. I can't see any of the stuff that would have been so nice to be able to see. Not just at the time, but even looking back, it's kind of like a little history of your channel. And I have 3 years of the history of my channel that it's just gone. So the moral of this story is MCNs aren't for smaller creators. The reason I say they could work for bigger creators is that these MCNs will sign bigger creators just so they can name drop them, which is how I got rooked into it in the first place. There were so many big names under this company, but what I didn't realize is the big creators never signed away their analytics. They never signed away any of the revenue they were making on YouTube. They didn't sign to a flat CPM. They didn't sign this stupid percentage agreement nonsense. They didn't sign away any of that. Basically, what they signed was the ability for this MCN to use their name to name drop and rook the smaller creators into signing with them. Rook the smaller creators into feeling like they are safe because these bigger channels with millions, if not multi-millions of followers are also signed to these networks. And then essentially, they rob you. They rob you. They treat you like you're an idiot. They don't get you any additional collaborations or anything. They just take your money. And since you have no analytics, you have no way to prove that that's what they were doing. I know that's what they were doing because my view count, subscriber count, the number of videos I was uploading was going up exponentially, but my paychecks were either stagnant or going down. So I knew that they were robbing me. It was a scam. It was a scam from the beginning. I should have known from just the 4-year contract thing. That's a scam. So anyways, being on this platform for literally a decade now, I have learned so many things. I've made a lot of mistakes. There are things I wish I didn't do that maybe I wouldn't necessarily change just because of the learning experience. But now that I've learned it and had the experience, I want to share my wisdom onto you guys and let you know. For the record, I'm not signed with an MCN anymore. I will absolutely 100% never sign to an MCN again. I like having full, total control over my channel. I like that. There you have it. There is my warning for you guys on the scams that are MCNs. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hitting that like button is an easy way for you guys to support my channel and let YouTube know that what I'm doing here is legit. If you enjoyed this video and want to see similar videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. You guys know the drill. You've seen YouTube. You know how this works. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means more than you will ever know, and I will talk to you in my next video very soon. I'll see you then. Bye!